Well, as you know, I'm French, so I was brought up with the kind of French New Wave cinema, so, which I think, in a way, is the kind of precursor of low-budget filmmaking, because they decided to make films in the streets, without extras, without lights, on the fly, and that gave them a lot of freedom to do the films that they wanted to make. So, in that sense, that and they found a new language of cinema by doing that. So the constrictions of having no money was actually what you express in your philosophy about IndiVision, is a creative way of making films. Okay, I want to make films, and the way to make films is, to do it in that way. I'm not going to wait 5 years to kind of find the money. I just, because I'm a script writer originally, but there's no sense of writing a script if it doesn't get it made into a film. What's exciting is making the film. So in that sense, I've been very lucky that I've been working with someone, Michael Winterbottom, who kind of is very prolific and makes films. Because I've also written a lot of screenplays that didn't get made. I don't think necessarily it's because they were higher budgets, but there's a kind of philosophy of development in England, which I don't know how, so much about Australia, but where you end up kind of writing and writing, and the more time you're writing, the more the script changes and gets kind of done to death, in a sense. And then you get frustrated because, 5 years later, you've got a script and it hasn't been made into a film, so it's not very interesting. And also, you don't learn, as a scriptwriter, you don't learn how, to get better, because what's interesting is to see your words as, on the script and how they translate into a film. So, in that sense, I've been, it's two things. I've been lucky because I've been working with Michael, and then I've been kind of pursuing this idea of kind of, wanting to make films. So trying to kind of think of ideas that are feasible, and that's what I'm interested in. He made A Mighty Heart the same way as he made Wonderland, in a sense, even though it's a studio film and there's a kind of big star in it. They were kind of shooting, we were talking earlier with some people in Pakistan, and the way he will do it is like, he will go out with the camera guy, and they will just go and film and go into places, like a documentary, like you shoot a documentary, go in certain places, and he films a lot, so it's his method, not everybody, it's not right for everybody. There isn't one way of doing things, but for him, it's the way he does things. He will film a lot, and then make the film in the editing also. Wonderland has got a very strong musical score, and to me, it was very much about rhythm and about kind of motif and writing it like music almost. So there was scenes with kind of ideas at the core, an emotional thing that happened, and and that's what, Michael would start the actors with what was written, and then they would improvise into the scene and out of the scene. And some actors love improvising, so some of the lines I didn't write. And to me, what is interesting is getting the emotional sense of one scene. And then I'm not a kind of a writer who writes words that are kind of, has to be definitely, this word is so weighty. It's kind of, more to do with the character and how they speak and how they can appropriate themselves with the character, and then kind of, it's fantastic for, as a writer to see an actor kind of just, finding it inspiring and then kind of going on. I kind of write organically. So I will maybe write a scene about a situation, and then suddenly the character will come out. Because the problem with writing is that you can be so stereotyped if you start thinking, okay, and what's hard to do is kind of get the layers in of a character. And to do that, I guess maybe why an ensemble piece is so exciting, and maybe for me it's easy. Some people say, oh, it's really hard to write. For me, it's easy because you put a character in a situation with one person, and they can be a certain way. And then with another person, they reveal another side of themselves. So it's quite a good conceit to kind of get a very layered idea of somebody, not a one-dimensional thing. So to me, it comes quite naturally in that sense. And I think that's always, and funnily enough, I don't know if the writers here will relate to that, the secondary characters are always easy to write. And they always come out really quite strongly. And then the main character, because they're supposed to be, like what you're talking about, the point of view, the hero, it's much harder to give them flesh and kind of give them kind of this real, to me anyway, I find you're smiling because you feel the same.